I find the more I let go and focus on just a couple of things I'm really good at, the more energy I have for doing them, more excitement I have for my office, my life, and everything.
Hello there, Orthopreneurs, and welcome to another episode of the OrthoPreneurs Podcast. Today, I come to you from sunny Georgia. I'm kidding. I'm here in Dallas. But our guest today comes from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, the amazing Dr. Jacob Koch. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
It is sunny today. It's beautiful.
It is sunny. It's sunny. I think we're both blessed to have sunny weather in our lives right now,
Absolutely.
Which is part of living in the South, right?
Yep.
Not so bad.
Fantastic.
And so, Dr. Koch or Jacob, I figure I'll call you Jacob for this.
Jacob's fine.
If you don't mind. It just makes it easier. So he first caught my eye when on Facebook I saw pictures of this dude who looked like the Terminator. He looked like he was going to rip somebody in half with like a 12-pack. And I was like, who is this dude trying out for a fitness competition? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And as he's been a part of OrthoPreneurs RD and gotten to know him a little bit better, some fun stuff that I've gotten to know about this guy. But he has some great things that he can talk about today that are going to help all of us in our practices and our lives. And we'll jump into those a little bit. But let's start here, as we do with everybody. If you want to give me maybe 90 seconds, 2 minutes, take your time. But tell us a little bit about how you became an orthodontist and how you ended up where you are now.
So I wanted to be a dentist since I was a teenager, I think. And then I remember I went into my orthodontist office to get a retainer made when I was like 21, 22. And I told the assistant who's taking my impressions, I was going to be a dentist. I was so excited to tell her to be a dentist. She said, why would you be a dentist? You want to be an orthodontist. It's so much better. It's all about smiles. Everybody's happy to see you. So that kind of I said, maybe I should take a look at it. And then I looked at it and said, I think this is for me. So then I got set. So then college went, I fell in love with it. And really, I love ortho. What I love about it is that it's like puzzles. Whenever I play games on my phone, I play puzzle games. So every mouth is a unique puzzle. So that's something I didn't appreciate until I got into it. I realized, man, every mouth is unique, figuring out puzzles all day long. So I enjoy that about it.
You're a master of Tetris, I bet.
That's right. I love Tetris.
Just puzzles, man. It's what I think as well. So basically your entire career trajectory was formed by an ortho assistant. Yep.
And I actually went back. That was in Las Vegas. I grew up in Las Vegas. I went back like a year ago and I went and she was still working at the ortho office. The other doctor retires, new doctor. I went and I had to tell her, you inspired me to become an orthodontist. It was really cool.
She was like,
I had a reunion with her.
Take me away.
I sensed that a little bit, maybe.
I've been waiting for this moment. But, I find that curious that you went through ortho, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't have needed a new retainer. And the whole process, when I do this and I ask people, right, they always, I went through ortho and they were so cool and they changed my smile. And I loved watching The Office when I was there. And the doctor seemed to really enjoy it, jumping from chair to chair. And not you. You were not at all. The concept of going through ortho did not in any way.
I had some kind of contraption in my mouth for it feels like 10 years. I had a lip bumper for years. And I remember the thing cutting me. I remember taking it out with my tongue and flipping it around. And
you have no idea what it was?
I knew what it was. I knew it was a lip bumper. But I feel like I just had stuff in my mouth for so long. And I was just and biting on bands, the most miserable experience ever. So I don't know. I was kind of like, because of that, I wasn't super excited about ortho. I was like, okay, I don't know. It was normal. So she kind of turned me on to it. I was different in dentistry, but I'm not one of those guys who's like, I love my experience as my orthodontist. Right. He was a good guy. He was a good guy, but it wasn't one of those stories.
Yeah. You had reverse pull headgear, high pull headgear, lip bumper, and a Frankel 3, right?
It might have been 4. I don't know.
But it's interesting to me how, it illustrates the fact that in our interactions in our day-to-day lives with people, just one conversation can change the next 70 years of someone's life.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's why I go to as many meetings as I can, because just one conversation changes the trajectory of everything.
Truly amazing. Yep. And so you went to college where?
I went to BYU for college.
Okay, so you went to BYU for college.
Yeah.
Doug Shaw, my partner, probably hates you because he went to Utah State. Right.
Awesome. My son's going to University of Utah next year.
University of Utah. Doug went to University of Utah.
Well, there's Utah State, University of Utah.
Right.
Yeah, my family is all wants to disown me because he's going there. So
So Doug, I want you to take down Jacob the next chance you get.
All right, let's do
You
it.
can have that job. I'm going to leave that one to you,
An
Doug.
arm wrestle.
Yeah. And so you went to Utah, to BYU, and then you went to Maryland for dental school.
Maryland for dental.
How did you end up going from, you grew up in Vegas,
Yeah.
ended up going to BYU, and then ended up in Maryland for dental school? Did you go straight from BYU into Maryland, or did you work for a while?
Yeah, straight to dental. Yeah, that is just one of those things where you've got some friends who are going to school there, and you're like, hey, we should apply to that school. And then I applied to I applied to 4 schools. I would have applied to more if I did it again. And then I got into 2. One was UNLV, the other was Maryland. And we're like, we don't want to move back home and be around a family. We need to grow, spread our wings and grow, be away from family. So that was how we ended up there. And it was good. It was
funny.
good. Yeah. So
you go from UNLV, you go from Vegas to BYU to Maryland. And of course you stayed over there for your ortho residency, right?
Then we left LSU. So that was in New Orleans, which is awesome. New Orleans is a great place. Loved it. Great residency, great city to live in. Learned to appreciate it like I never would have appreciated if I'd just been visiting. It's just a cool, unique culture. New Orleans is amazing.
And so you graduated there what year?
2011. So it's been about 11 years.
And then, of course, because you'd already been in Vegas, Utah, Maryland, LSU, you decided to settle down in one of those 4 states, right?
No. Actually, it's a long story, but I was dead set on practicing in Delaware, believe it or not, because we have friends.
I have to hear that.
Yeah, it's the short version is we have friends who live there. I met an orthodontist who was in Delaware. I actually Delaware only accepts the Delaware state boards. So from Louisiana, I traveled during ortho residency, traveled to Delaware, took the Delaware state boards and passed them. And then the doctor that I was negotiating with decided that it was a no deal March before I finished residency. So about 3 months before we got out of residency. So I'm sitting there with 3 kids, no job, no nothing, 3 months away. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So fortunately, I took the board exam. It was the NERB at the time. And it was, I think that like 43 states accepted it, something like that. So I was like, my wife were like, all right, where do you want to live? We didn't really want to be in Las Vegas. So we just got online to AAO listings, started just going through and found an office in Atlanta, said, hey, Atlanta's pretty cool. We drove through it one time. Let's go check it out. So that office had just gotten listed that day, connected with the doctor and just ended up. And it was like a kind of a unicorn office. Like he wanted to sell the whole thing. Day one, I walk in, I'm 100% owner. He said, I'll stay on as long as you need me to. He was on for about a year. And that's how we ended up in Atlanta. We love it. It's fantastic.
Talk about serendipity.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny how life has a plan. It just works out.
Stumble into things, yeah.
So I have to ask you, because I have you here, without throwing shade, why do so many people who are from Las Vegas not want to go back to Las Vegas? Because as someone who travels there, the weather is nice. You got Great Lakes not too far away, right? Lake Powell, right? It seems like a cool place.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's just wanting to, I guess, get away from where you grew up. Like my son, I love Georgia, love the green. He doesn't like the green. He doesn't like Georgia. He wants to be in Utah where the mountains are. He wants to be on the West Coast. So part of it's wanting to be away from what you're used to. Yeah. And then Las Vegas, I don't know. I guess I didn't feel like my family, half my family is there. My wife's family is mostly moved away. So I guess I didn't feel strong roots there. So
fair enough.
I don't know. And I felt like, just felt like Atlanta had more to offer. So yeah.
How old are your kids now?
They are 18, 16, 13. Yeah. So 18-year-olds off to college. Bunch of teenagers. Yep.
So where's he going to school?
University of Utah.
All right. You said that earlier. I'm sorry. Yep. Go Utes. Yep. And talk about getting away from where your parents are from. You went to BYU. He's going to like the arch nemesis, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. My whole family wants to disown me for that.
Did a lot of your family go to BYU?
Yeah, quite a few did. Yeah.
Right on. So there, you got a rebellious 18-year-old son. Who would have ever heard of such a thing?
Who would have thought?
And so one of the things that I know that's big in your life is fitness, right? Mm-hmm. As I mentioned, joking, not joking, at the beginning was I saw this picture somewhere online on Facebook. Not like I'm stalking you, I swear.
Yeah.
But I saw some picture of you in it was like a swimsuit. What do they call that?
Board shorts. Yeah.
Board shorts, right?
Board shorts, yeah.
Because I'm going to give a shout out to Kevin McCaffrey, our co-resident. Kev, at Nova, when we were at school, he was into the same sort of thing, right? Where it's basically a waist up competition, right? It's what I like call the abs up kind of competition. So
it's called the guys who skip legs day competition. That's what it is.
Well, I know lots of guys who did legs day who just never got, I don't care how much leg day you do. You ain't getting massive calves, no matter how much leg day you do.
It takes a lot of work.
It's just, it is what it is. But how did you get into that? And is it something you still do? And then I'll dive into a couple of questions after that.
Yeah. So I was a fat kid growing up. So that's so maybe husky. I'm over.
You're a husky.
I was husky. Okay. Husky. Is that the politically correct term now?
No, that's the thing. When I was a little kid, they had boys' pants in what they called husky size. They wouldn't say fat. It was husky. So I didn't ever wear them, but all my friends had huskies.
Husky. Okay. I'll call myself husky. I've never used that term, but I was like the quintessential husky kid or fat kid, and I played video games nonstop. I was the first kid in my neighborhood to beat Mike Tyson back before you could look up on the internet.
Punch Out.
And Punch Out. My nickname was actually, my family called me Nintendo Belly. That was my nickname.
Seriously?
Nintendo Belly.
What a loving family you had.
Oh, yes.
Gee, I can't seem to figure out why you didn't want to go back to Vegas.
Yeah, no,
it's so strange.
They're great. It's a sarcastic punch. Yeah.
And by the way, for everybody out there who's not a geek like Jacob and myself, beating Mike Tyson was tough.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now, how many years has it been since you played?
Played Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
Yeah.
I actually got a Nintendo Classic like 3 or 4 years ago and played. I tried to beat Mike Tyson. I couldn't do it anymore.
I was going to ask you, name the people after Glass Joe that you had to beat.
Oh, geez. I got through everyone, actually. It was Glass Joe. Who else is there? There's there's
Bald Bull.
And you got Bald Bull, Super Macho Man.
The dude with the Italian name who was a second guy.
I remember all these. Soda Popinski. And there's 2 Bald Bulls. There's King Hippo.
King Hippo. And there's some dude who's got an Italian name who I think you have to beat after Glass Joe.
And I can't remember.
But it's so funny because the memories you're bringing back, right?
Yeah. Oh,
nice. And you know what the crazy part is? I love collectible games, I recently saw a copy. I think it was a Mike Tyson Punch Out original year with, I remember it was orange bullet points or white bullet points in the front of it with like a 9.8 rating from WADA that I think was going to go for like $660,000.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one of those games like Super Mario Brothers. That if you can have one in perfect condition, you're going to have a $2 million game a few years from now. It's crazy. But anyway, sorry. So you had Nintendo Belly.
Yeah, Nintendo Belly was my nickname, and then I lost I lost like 50 pounds when I was a junior in high school, and I was still a little heavier. But I remember the turning point was when I sneaked into my parents' bathroom to weigh myself, and I weighed myself, and then I was like trying to slink out, and my dad ran into me. He's like, "What were you doing?" And I said, "I was weighing myself." He said, "How much do you weigh?" And so I told him. He's like, "You weigh that much?"
Well, you were at your heaviest.
Yeah, that was my heaviest. Yeah, but it's the type of thing I beat myself up for doing as a father, but it was the right thing. Like it turned me out, made me start looking at exercising more and watching what I ate a little more. So I lost that, and then I've kind of gone up and down, never been fully, totally lean.
Dude, the picture I saw from you would disagree.
Yeah, okay, so there I was. So actually, another thing that drives me, when I was in dental school, I gained a bunch of weight. I probably got up to like 230, 240.
And how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Okay.
So actually, I heard third hand that this girl, one of my good friends, she said, "Jake, no matter how much weight he loses, he's always going to get fat again." So that drives me now, actually. I'm like, thank you that you said that, because that's, sometimes it helps to have a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, tell me.
So I think about that now. Anyhow, so I've always been into weightlifting, fitness. I started building my home gym like 10 years ago or 11 years ago when I got out of residency. Just got some dumbbells, got a power rack, and got like basically a squat rack that you can do bench lift or bench press and everything on. And had what else? I think I had an elliptical. With those, you can do with a bench, power rack, dumbbells. You can do pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So I started there and then just started to add stuff. Eventually got machines. And I've got like a full home gym now, which is
Your
awesome.
home gym is insane, by the way. I think, did you just take a video of it and post it online not long ago?
Yeah. I think I put it in Ortho Health Tribe. Yeah.
It took up like seven separate rooms in your house.
Yeah.
I think it goes from one room into another room into your garage, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's basically 3 rooms now. Yeah. So.
And by the way, Ortho Health Tribe, let's give a shout out.
Yeah. Great group.
Did Curvin start that one?
He might have.
It's hashtag Ortho Health Tribe.
Yeah.
And it's a great place where people come together and just talk about what they're doing, right?
Yeah, a lot of bikers, endurance athletes, weightlifters, really good.
And by the way, if you join the group, it's not about flexing and telling people how amazing you are, because I'm telling you, when you show your 6-mile run that was amazing, someone else is doing 37. Someone just did a 100-mile run or something like that. Yeah. It's just a nice way for people to come together in a collaborative way and cheer each other on and talk about technology and, different fitness stuff. And I think Jacob just showed his video of his home gym. And I just remember watching the video. Took a solid like 45 seconds, traveling from one room to another. It was awesome, man.
Yeah. I've got a problem.
You do not have a problem.
but it's fantastic because I just have to. I mean, the amount of time I save. I mean, the closest decent gym to me is 20 minutes away, so I'd spend 40 minutes to an hour traveling every day if I was going to work it every day. So it's been fantastic, like massive time savings, massive. That's
beautiful. Yeah, I can't go to a gym. Not because I'm afraid of intimidating everybody, right? I don't. It's just the whole other people's DNA all over me, and just in cold and flu season, and it's part of the reason I couldn't do jujitsu anymore.
It's good for your immune system, though.
It is good for your immune system, but I will tell you, I think I'm gonna start taking up Pilates soon. So I think I'm gonna have to go to a studio at this point.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said for anybody out there who's having trouble working out. I'm just telling you, one of the greatest things you can do is have a home gym of some sort, so you can wake up, work out, take a shower. It's easy. There's no excuses.
It's fantastic.
And it's where I started. It's where many people started, and I strongly recommend it for anybody out there.
Yep.
And so there's a difference between working out and wanting to lose weight, right? Mm-hmm. And going to a fitness competition.
Yeah. So, there definitely is. And I mean, I can tell you my journey there and tell you a little more about it. I've always worked out pretty consistently. And I think over the past 10 years, I've gotten in better and better shape. So 7 years, what was it? 7 years, or actually I started 9 years ago. I started, so actually I gave a talk on this at the MKS. I think it was 2017. Me and Ben Fishbein did like a little tag team lecture. And so I had all these topics that were like ortho topics. I was like, oh, this is good stuff. I'm going to share this ortho stuff and everybody's going to love it. And then Ben was saying, you got to include the streak. And I was like, no, that's not even ortho.
I remember you talking. So I didn't realize that was you.
Now, that's all anyone remembers from what I spoke about. And I
didn't even remember that was you. I remember.
Yeah,
talked about it, but I was there for the lecture, but I totally forgot that was you.
Yeah, so the gist of it is, and I can actually show you photos of the calendars. So there's a story about Jerry Seinfeld, how someone was touring. It was when Seinfeld was first becoming big, so they were doing the comedy circuit with him, right. And they asked him, how do I become a good comic? How do I get better? And Seinfeld said, the way you become a better comic is you write more jokes. And he said, the way you write better jokes, the way you write better jokes is you write jokes every day. So the way to get yourself leverage to write jokes every day is get yourself a big wall calendar that's a full year. And then every day that you write jokes, put an X on the calendar. Pretty soon you're going to get a chain of X's and you're going to like seeing that chain. Don't break the chain. So that was the key to it. So I started hold on, I'll show you. I've got the picture of, if I can find it here. Okay.
All I can think of is Stevie Nicks now. Never break the chain.
Yeah. Is that a song? I don't know. Sorry to let you down.
Fleetwood Mac fan. I'm dating myself.
I'm not a big Fleetwood. You might be able to see it there.
I can't see it. For those of you who might be listening, he's holding up a phone.
Anyways.
He could very well be showing me him bench pressing 600 pounds. It
might be. Who the heck knows?
But I remember seeing the lecture where you showed on screen all the X's.
Yeah. So 2013, I got a couple of like 30, 40-day streaks. And then 2014, same thing. But then finally, 2015, I locked it in and exercised every single day of 2015, then 2016, then 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So haven't missed a day since then. And So ever since then, I'm haunted by it. Like everybody asks me, how's the chain going when they run into me at ortho meetings? So
I'll never ask you, I promise.
You can ask. That's fine.
But I want to ask you about the chain in a different direction. Do you ever feel like it's a little unhealthy to have to work out every day not for fitness sake? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're doing it for fitness. Yeah. And if you were to miss a day or two here, many experts would tell you it's okay. Yeah. I remember I used to, when I was doing triathlons years ago, I went to go visit a friend in Overland Park, Kansas. And so he got me a bike. We were going to go for a ride just because he wanted to show me around the area. And one of the dentists in the area, their husband was a really top tier triathlon. Like he was sponsored, professional triathlete, and he was nice enough to ride with us. And I'd asked him, I'm like, when you get sick, do you take off? He goes, the second I have anything, my coach shuts me down. He says, because your body needs to mobilize all the resources it has to helping fight that, and there's no reason for you to work out through it. So do you ever view it, and I'm not saying it is, it's a question. Do you ever view a pathology associated with the fact is, I need to stop. I should not be working out today. I have 101 fever, or I have COVID, or I shouldn't be working out today, but I'm going to because of the chain.
Yeah. So, I've had that, but I've set myself a baseline. The baseline's been basically 15 minutes. Do 15 minutes of something. So whether that's getting on an elliptical and just kind of moving, doing something. Okay. So that's so for days like that, there've definitely been days like that where I'm like, I need to take it easy, or if I'm sick, or little things like that. But they're few and far between, but there are days like that. Yeah, for sure. It's not like every day I'm doing 2 hours working out, no matter what. Absolutely.
Are you doing 2 hours of working out, by the way?
It's probably an hour and a half every day.
Holy crap.
So it's like half an hour of cardio and then an hour of weights.
Okay, everybody. I want to set the scene for you. You're in a room with 1,000 people who think just like you. The lights are dim. Something special is about to happen on stage. And the music starts turning up. And before you know it, you're part of a meeting that's going to change your life. The OrthoPreneurs Summit, which is now in its 5th year, has been called the best meeting in orthodontics. I've had non-orthodontists come to it as guests and tell me it's the best meeting they've ever been to. If you are not signed up for that meeting, the FOMO you're going to miss out on is going to be ridiculous. But even moreover, the great material to help your practice go to the next level, the great conversations you're going to have with other people who are going to be in attendance is going to be incredible. So go to opsummit2022.com, sign up now. I promise you this will be the best meeting you've ever been to. opsummit2022.com. And as I tell everybody all the time, if this is not the best meeting you've ever been to, you just walk up to me at Summit, let me know. I will pay for your limousine to the airport and a flight home. Nobody's ever taken me up on it because it's the best meeting in orthodontics. opsummit2022.com. Can't wait to see you there. Wishing you the best.
So yeah, definitely there are days where I've just gone really light and done something just to do something, even if it's just walking on the treadmill or something like that.
Right
They're few and far between.
And that makes much more sense, by the way. Yeah. Right? Like if you said to me, I work out 7 days a week for the last 4 years, I'm going to sit here and go, like, that's crazy, dude. You got to give your body time to rest. But if you're like, the hard 75, you have to have 2 workouts. And I was like, that's just silly to me. That didn't make sense. Intense. But it sounds to me like you're making sure a body in motion stays in motion. Like
exactly. Yeah. And it's always been about doing more than I would have done otherwise. And that's what the chains helped me do. So it wasn't about being perfect. I don't know. Somehow I got it locked in, and now it's just a part of who I am. I just do it automatically.
Right on. And what made you go into so again, when I started triathlons, I was sitting on a couch, I was eating poorly. My 17-year-old cousin, who was a high school student, was running a marathon the next day. It was Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving, and she was going to run the Seattle Marathon. And I remember her telling me what she was doing, and I was like, crap, I'm this 30-year-old dude out of shape. I always played high school sports, but I was eating terribly. Here she's running a marathon, and I'm going to sit on a couch. And the next day I started getting on the treadmill. And before I knew it, my friend says, dude, you're already running. You should start biking. So I started biking. He's like, oh, you're already running and biking. You should start swimming. And this comes from a guy who's a Fulbright scholar, swam for Yale, and was 3rd at the U.S. Olympic trial. So that's the guy guiding me. But there's a huge difference between jogging or running and training for competitions. And there's a big difference between working out and training for fitness competitions, right? Talk a little bit about the relationship in your mind of what percentage of this is to metal to get on the podium and be like, I know who I'm chasing and I'm going to catch that person, versus I'm just going to try to look as good as I possibly can, and this is driving me to my best fitness possible?
That would be 0% and 100%. So 0%. Yeah, it started, and that's where I think that like with the whole exercise chain thing, people get fixated on that being the reason I'm in good shape, or the reason I'm cut down, or the reason for that photo. Definitely without the exercise, I couldn't have gotten there, but it has all been pretty much eating and getting my diet in order. So I tried all kinds of diets for years and years and years. I mean, I feel like I've done keto, intermittent fasting, all different sorts, South Beach diet, Atkins diet,
Mediterranean.
I think I've done it. I think I've done it all. And they definitely all work to a degree, but it wasn't until the COVID, classic COVID, I put on my COVID-19 pounds and gained. I mean, I must have gained, 15, 20 pounds of COVID. And it was I think it was May 2020. I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to pull out of this. So I found a coach, like an online coach, guy who helps people prep for bodybuilding competition. I said, I want to do a competition in about a year. So next April, I want to do a competition. So he put me on. And so 100%, it was a forcing mechanism, or it was to get in the best shape possible. I had never had any aspirations of winning anything, and I haven't won anything, but it wasn't about winning. It was just about accountability, about having something to force me, because I had never gotten quite as serious about it until I had this going. So not only having the coach, but also having that competition looming over me made me get really serious about it. And then having gained weight from COVID, I was like, I need to pull out of this tailspin. So with the coach, he's like, it's just like an accountability. I have to I report into him once a week, send photos front, side, back, and report what I ate, report what I did for exercise. And then he gives me a little modification, this or that. But within 8 weeks of working with him, he pretty much put me on his macronutrients, tracking macronutrients.
Macro changed my life.
Macro, yeah. Tracking macros. So basically calorie counting, but fancy calorie counting. So once I finally did that, after doing everything under the sun, all the other diets, I finally got, within 8 weeks, I was leaner than I'd ever been in my entire life. And I was like, wow, I guess calorie counting or macro counting works.
Were you, just out of curiosity, were you just doing macros, or were you cycling macros?
Just macros, yeah. He has me a little bit cycling macros, like I'll have like a refeed day, like spike carbohydrates, but it's no cycling, nothing too fancy. It was just straight macros, some cheat meals here and there, but yeah, straight macros.
So how low did you get your body fat at its lowest?
So the lowest I was with I got DEXA scans for years.
Yeah.
With DEXA scans, actually, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think I was at 20. I might have been 25%.
Wow.
I think I was up there. I mean, I had like a muscular base, but I was up in the 20s, if I remember right, 25 or 26% 5 years ago. And then the lowest at the competition, I got another DEXA scan. I was about 8%.
It's unbelievable.
I felt like I was leaner than that, but I got down to 8%.
Can I ask a question about when you got to 8%? Spoken from a man who's I've never been close to 8%. My Eastern European Jewish genes, there's never been anybody in my lineage who's been near 8%. Did you feel good at 8%, or did you feel like your body was, because I've had friends who've gotten really low and they felt like things didn't, like, women bodybuilders, right? When they get down really low, the body doesn't function the way it does when they're a little bit fattier, if you will. Yeah. Did you feel like being at your best looking was also you at your healthiest?
It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. That's the last month I was cold all the time. I think because of less body fat, I was hungry all the time. And then when the competition came, I mean, I was super excited and pumped because I was doing this competition. Like I'd achieved this goal, this huge goal I'd had for years. I'm actually kind of a lifelong goal. And so that, I think that kind of tempered it a little bit, but no, I didn't feel great. Didn't feel great. Again, hungry, tired, cold all the time. So it actually was, well, you know what? It actually was very good for my head, because I realized, first of all, like most of the foot pictures you see on Instagram or online, it's just a snapshot. because that's all
Right.
mine was. My picture with the board shorts and the abs and everything. It was just a snapshot. It was that single day. So it's a snapshot of this. And most of these people don't walk around looking like that all the time.
No.
And I also realized if this is how I have to feel to look like this all the time, then I'll take looking not this good. Like if
me.
I feel good.
That's
Totally. Yeah. So actually it was good for me to actually achieve that and then think, okay, let's find a healthier balance, because walking around looking like that all the time is not fun.
No.
So
and it's funny. I was listening to I don't know how you pronounce it properly because I always screwed up. Jason Momoa, Aquaman, right?
Yeah.
I remember there was a great story of him recently, because most would argue he's in pretty good shape. When he was shooting, his Aquaman stuff, he talked about like what it took for him to look the way he needed to for one particular shot. Just for one shot in one moment was like weeks worth of preparation to look good just for a second. And I remember he couldn't get himself vascular enough for the shot, even though his body fat was low. So I just saw the story not long ago. He said to the guy, "Give me 2 Guinness stouts right now." Like he pounded
right before he shot, or that made it vascular. You're saying
he became vascular.
The Guinness made him vascular.
The Guinness made him vascular. He was totally ripped, but he didn't have the vascular, veiny look he needed to. And he just took 2 Guinness stouts and pounded them, and immediately, like it was like boom. All of a sudden, he became Aquaman.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was fortunate enough to be around Kevin, who I mentioned earlier, in residency. And, he was like training for something. And like, he's the dude who one day would have like 6 hot dogs surrounded by like 6 cheese sticks that he's like eating like a Gatling gun the whole time. And then one day, like I'm watching the instructor talk about like cue ball mechanics in residency. And he's reaching into his blue bag, as he always did, pulling out Peeps. You know Peeps? The marshmallow candies?
Peeps.
And he's eating Peeps. Like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I got to get my sugar up, dude, tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
He was trying. It was so funny because we laugh about it when he was trying, but for people who aren't in the know, to get where you needed to look for that one snapshot in time is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so like the week of the competition for me, like you taking diuretics is extremely dangerous. So stayed away from that, but you just manipulate water.
Do people take diuretics?
People do. Yeah. Actually, there are bodybuilders who die from it. It's super dangerous. It's crazy to do that. So just a simple water manipulation. This is just one thing you do. You drink 2 gallons of water for, so I think it was 3 days, maybe it was for 3 days. And then you cut back by half a gallon, half a gallon, half a gallon. So then half a gallon the day before the show, and the day of the show, you don't drink anything. So it takes a while for ADH to catch up, and then you just keep peeing and peeing and peeing. So it sucks all the water out of you. So that's one thing you do. And then backstage before you go out, everyone's like, they got weights and everyone's pumping up their muscles, and everyone's kind of like the Guinness. They're pounding rice cakes and carbohydrates, trying to fill up the. So yeah, you do some ridiculous stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. And the minute before I went out there for the first time on stage, I just had this flash of awareness where I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm a grown man, a bunch of grown men going out there and prancing around with our fake tan and oiled up. It was ridiculous, but it worked to get me in good shape. So
yeah. But the joke is, fitness has nothing to do with a fitness competition.
True.
Which is totally true, right?
Yeah.
And at least you're in board shorts. You didn't have to wear the Speedo.
Yeah, that made it easier. They actually
there's no way.
They didn't have the board shorts division till like 10, 12 years ago. I don't know when it was, but it definitely made me.
That's why I didn't do it, to be honest. Back in the day, I would have done it, but they didn't. That's the only thing that was holding me back, right? So let's just talk about your practice now. After all, this is the OrthoPreneurs podcast, not the Ortho Fitness podcast, though. What you've already talked about has been great. You have 2 practices, right?
Yep.
And you're killing it. Well, you would never say you're killing it.
Yeah, we're doing well.
How many team members do you have?
We have 30. It's about 30.
Yeah. So how do you, if you listen to people online, if you listen to any of the groups, the largest complaint you hear from people is about their team, right? And Doug Shaw, myself, we have about 35 team members right now as well, about that size. And it gets tricky, right? It's hard. How do you maintain balance? Are there any tricks or tips or suggestions you'd make about having 30 team members who I know from having talked to you, you've got a pretty good culture?
Yeah, I think, I mean, one of the biggest keys truly is having me not in charge of getting rid of the drama. So have an
Yep.
office manager. Her title is VP of operations. She's been with me for 7 years now. And she started out doing marketing, but then it was clear she needs to be managing. So she's been fantastic, and she's kind of like a mother hen, and she's very protective and very loyal. She's been amazing at resolving drama. I mean, whereas I would let stuff fester, and I wouldn't address stuff. I can be I'm non-confrontational. Where she jumps on it, she's like an opposite personality type of me. So it's almost like I've been drawn to these, like with the I don't know if you're familiar with the colors, the red,
Oh,
yellow,
yeah.
green. I mean, she's like a red, strong red, almost too much. I had to like tone her down, like, whoa, too direct, like too direct, too hard.
Don't
But
say that.
she has, yeah. I mean, I've had to have some conversations about that. Just like we need to, like, she's taught me a lot. So I hope I've taught her a few things, but she's been amazing. And, every time she can sense the drama, she can feel the drama, and she works with the other leaders in the office to just jump on it right away. They just addressing it immediately, and putting people in the right place, right position in the office. And she also almost has a sixth sense for sniffing out when someone is not performing, and then she kind of gets on their case. And
Nice.
almost always when that person leaves, all the drama goes away. So that person eventually they'll quit because she's on them. And I'll be thinking, oh my gosh, she's making people quit. But then I realize that person was the problem, and she had a six. So the long story short is, I am not the right person to be stamping that out, and she addresses it quickly. And I mean, having I guess almost an opposite personality from me, being in charge of the HR, the hiring, firing team has been immeasurable. It's super.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you were at the Fishbein fundamentals that we did as an RD group.
It wasn't that one I've been to a few times.
Yeah, but the when Amanda and Ben did their Orthopreneurs University course a couple of months ago, it's just such an eye-opening experience. Like, Ben Fishbein probably better than I do, but I've had a chance to spend some time with him. He's a genius, but not, in my opinion, not for the reasons people think. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a hard worker. He's got a great vision.
Mm-hmm.
But I think his great superpower is the ability to I don't want to say not care. You know what I'm talking about? His superpower is the ability to find somebody to take on his burden and then be able to not worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Oh yeah. He's much better at not worrying about that stuff than I am. That's it.
Yeah.
It holds me back for sure in my office.
I have the superpower of not worrying. I just forget to put somebody in charge first. No, but again, when I listened to them speak, what I learned from them was that whole Ben Fishbein and Amanda Floyd relationship is exactly the way we needed to be. So Doug and I started endeavoring to build our organizational hierarchy to where at the end of the day, when I had a conversation with Amanda, she said something that was brilliant. And I'm going to say it now, but it's so simple. And I think we tend to complicate matters so much. But the whole goal was to create so that the doctors were just doctors. That's all it was, is that the doctors come to work and they do doctor stuff. They come and they hug moms or, rub a kid's hair and say, great job, sport. And, speak to moms and do ortho, and that's it. And the practice growth happens with somebody who helps practice growth. And hiring and firing happens from somebody who's hiring and firing. And that's where, both Fishbein and us, we've joined the Smile Doctors Partnership. And we still have to do those sorts of things on a regular basis. But setting up the organizational hierarchy like you did to let somebody other than the doctor be the one in charge seems to be the secret.
Yeah, that's what Ben taught me a ton about that. He taught me how to let go of that, just let go of that. And he showed me how powerful it can be to empower a manager, empower someone in that position, and let them focus on those details, and you focus on being a doctor and also the vision of the office. So I've got to steer the vision and guide the vision, and set the, I see myself as responsible for setting the tone and setting the culture, being an example for that. But definitely letting go, and that's something he's taught me, is that how powerful that is, how helpful it is, how much better it can make your office. It's really hard to let go. It's hard to like say, all right, I'm going to let you see the payroll, and you can see everyone's wages. You're going to know what everyone makes. You're going to know all the numbers. I just had to let go of that, and it's been really freeing, and it's given me so much more energy to work on other things. I mean, I find the more I let go and focus on just a couple of things I'm really good at, the more energy I have for doing them, more excitement I have for my office and my life and everything. So
yeah, I mean, who has the energy? Like, who has the energy?
You do.
I do not. I've been.
I think you're the one person who's got the energy, Glenn.
Every time we hire somebody, and they're getting really good at hiding who they really are in interviews. A lot of these people.
Oh, we've just barely seen that. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, anybody listening knows that people are getting really good at hiding who they are at interviews. And I mean, like I said, you've been doing it a while, I've been doing it a while, and yet I don't get involved in the hiring process anymore. I just don't.
You neither.
But we've done every personality test, every hand skills test, Wonderlic, whatever you want to do, we've done it. And they'll show up to the office and be perfect. And then like the first week, they missed the first day, or they're late the second day. You have a conversation. Oh, don't worry, it won't happen again. And the next day they ghost you. And it's just so weird. And again, if you speak to Amanda, almost all their team grows from internal referrals, right?
Yeah, that was a big takeaway for me working on that. They call it a warm referral from their team. So that's super powerful.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part. So what's the stuff that are your challenges right now? What are your biggest struggles? And the second question is, you have 3 kids, teenagers. How do you balance your working out, you have an associate, which we'll talk about in a second, but you have 30 employees or team members, you've got 3 kids, you're working out. How do you manage to hold all this balance together? Because I hear people, I don't have time to work out, or, my office takes up all my time, or are you not balanced? And I guess the second half is, what's your biggest challenges?
I'm balanced. I don't know. I mean, what is balance? I don't know. I guess I just, I don't know what secrets I have for that. I mean, like with the working out, I just get it done, get it out of the way in the morning most of the time, and then it's done. I have the rest of my day. My kids are teenagers. That makes it a little bit easier. They don't require as much time or energy, or they're kind of doing their own thing a lot of the time.
Yeah, they don't want to be around us.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My kids love me. We have a great time. But like being in their little cocoon of happiness makes them very, very happy.
Yeah. So it's definitely become easier to balance life as my kids have gotten older. And like with the exercising, I just make it a part of my life and who I am, and it's just expected. So it's normal. And then as far as the office, I just like I said, I mean, really, really working on doing what I do best, what I really enjoy doing. And also it's been really helpful. I've had my associate doing a little more, and I've cut back a little bit my clinical time. That's been incredibly helpful, just because the clinical time demands a lot of energy. It's not the ortho that demands the energy, but it's the interaction with the team, with the parents, with the kids, and with patients. I mean, it takes a lot of energy. So I found as I've had a little more time for like admin time, little less patient time, that's helped balance things greatly. So I'm like in a much better place than I was even a few months ago. So we just started this, having her take on a little more clinical time. It's been incredible. Super helpful.
I know you're very happy with your associate. What's her name? You want to give her a shout out?
Her name is Kelsey Gass. She's she's awesome. Yeah. She's a dead ringer for Natalie Portman. She looks exactly like Natalie Portman. If she listens to this, she's gonna roll her eyes.
Now she's gonna hide under the table.
Yeah,
I hope she comes to Summit. Yeah. Bring her to OrthoPreneurs Summit so that I can dress her up as Natalie Portman. We'll bring her in. I'll say, and today we have Natalie Portman.
She's incredible though. Like couldn't have asked for a better associate.
One what advice would you give? I know because you're happy with her, you love the relationship. What advice would you give to orthodontists out there who are thinking about being an associate? And what have you learned? What advice would you give to
The first thing that I realized was really, really helpful was having things, and I didn't do this on purpose, but I realized I had it already set up, is figure out what you want, like how you want to treat. Figure out your systems. If you can, the more you can get your systems dialed in, the better. So I finally I think I've tried every single bracket under the sun, every self-ligating bracket in the sun. Finally found a bracket that I like, I'm committed to. So like, okay, I'm not going to change brackets anymore. And then I also systematize the like treatment plans within. I use Dolphin, so I've got treatment plans set up. Like, this is how we treat. This is how we treat a class 1 case, class 2 case, class 3 case. This is the class 2 device we use. Like, basically figuring out what you want to do, because your ability to turn on a dime anymore when you've got another doctor in the office is much, much harder. Great. So it makes I used to make everybody's head spin, changing stuff all the time, changing stuff. So I kind of had figured out who I am, what I want to do, how I want to treat. And I'm glad that I did that before she came in, because I was basically able to kind of, and I didn't want someone to just see the patients. I wanted someone who would be able to do the same treatment as me, who would be like a second me, someone who treat the patients amazing and do treatment in a similar way. And so that's, I took with who I was looking for. I was looking for someone who was willing to have a mentor, and willing to like work under my wing it was shorter than I thought it would be. That was probably the most helpful thing. I'm glad that I had it figured out beforehand. So the more you can figure out, the more you can systematize the way that you do ortho, the more easier time you're going to have training an associate, getting them to treat and be on the same page as you.
And how much of what was she fresh out of school, or had she practiced for a while?
She had worked in a dental office in Texas. Worked out of a dental office. Her husband went to San Antonio for ortho. So he was finishing residency. He's an orthodontist too. And nice. So she worked there for 2 years. And that actually made her, it was a nice change, because she just didn't have what she needed there. I mean, like, she was bending wire with a math out, things like that. Like, she didn't have the supplies. It just clearly wasn't run by orthodontists. So she was really excited. It was nice for her to go into an office that does ortho all the time.
So when she came to work with you, was it, I don't mean it the way it's going to come out with my way or the highway, but was it, okay, everything you've done up until now has prepared you. Here's how we do things here. I don't care that you used to reposition every bracket. Here we bend wire for every bracket. I don't care that, you used to like X. Here we do it Y. Did you allow her to bring in a lot of her training from the past into the picture? Or was it, okay, love the way you did things, but here's the way it gets done now?
So as far as the clinical, I'd say the clinical,
only clinical.
The clinical, so I'd say clinical versus treatment planning. Clinical has been more, this is the way we do it. Like, we're going to use this bracket. We're going to do this at this appointment. We're going to use these wires. We're going to repo here. We're going to bend wire here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there I pretty much said, I know there's a lot of ways to do it, but this is the way that we do it. It works very well. We've gotten really efficient at it. And so I want you to at least try it this way for a few years and see how it goes, especially while you're learning and doing ortho at a higher pace than you were doing before. With the treatment planning, it's a little more collaborative for sure. I accept her. I like her perspective sometimes. Like, she in her residency, they would take out teeth more than I did in my residency. So I like to hear her perspective on extraction patterns, things like that. She'll ask me for help with really tough cases, which is fun. But yeah, treatment planning is a little more collaborative, but the actual way we do ortho has been, because otherwise it just gets too confusing when you have assistants like thinking, okay, do we repo at this appointment, or do we repo at this point? Do we bend wire at this point, or it just gets too chaotic in my eyes. So yeah, I was kind of like, gently, this is the way we're going to do it. She was totally accepting of it. She's adapted so well. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like things are going great.
Yeah. And that's the way that she came in. I thought, okay, she's going to just shadow me for 2 months. I'm going to make her follow me around, meet all the patients, and then I'll let her touch the patients. But after a month, I was like, this is silly. Like, she knows how to do ortho. I need to just let go. That was another. I should have talked to Ben Fishbein before she came on, because he would have said, just put her to work. She started working. Patients loved her. It's been great. And now we have days where we at first I thought we're going to always work together. It's going to be the two of us. She's here to make my day a little lighter, a little easier. We're both going to share the load. But then eventually after 9 months, 12 months, I thought, why are we all both in the office at the same time? Why don't we split the offices? So it allowed us to split the offices. And that's taken. I mean, I still have times where I'm like, I get stressed out. Like, I'm not seeing all the patients, but that's just the control freak orthodontist in me.
That was easy for me. We brought on Michael Rasmus, an amazing guy, great associate, great person. You know, the challenge I face is that to this day, I still get patients who come to me like, where's Dr. Krieger? You know, they'll say, where's Dr. Krieger today? Is Dr. Krieger not treating me today? Or I run into them and they'll be like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Not in a nasty way, but you can tell it kind of. I think that's, I mean, trust me, anybody who knows me knows I let go of things really easily. Like, you don't have to ask me twice, sometimes too quickly. And I always wonder about that balance of when a patient says to me, you know, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, or they ask the office, where's Dr. Krieger today? I always wonder if they genuinely just don't care and they're just asking, or is that their way of signaling like, I'm not as happy as if Dr. Krieger were the one treating me? Yeah. And I don't know. You know, over time, over the next year, Michael's been with us now for a little over a year. I figure within the next year that will all work itself out. But do you ever get a sense of that? Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what makes me get anxious about it sometimes. But yeah, that's what I wonder. Are they dissatisfied? I don't know. I think they're happy. When I see them and they say, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I mean, generally, I think they're happy. And I just say, things are looking great. Dr. Gass is doing awesome. I mean, I build it up and kind of just turn it and make it clear that things are looking great.
I don't engage it unless they want to. Like if they say, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I say, yeah, I sit in back. I drink martinis all day long. I relax. I drive my Lamborghini around the back of the office a few times, have a few drinks, sit back, and I let Dr. Rasmussen do everything. And they sort of giggle and laugh. And I just sort of move past it, because if somebody's really angry, which is extremely rare, like really rare, you know, I've had one or two patients say, I started with you, Dr. Krieger, and I expect you to finish. Okay, cool. Happy to. I was trying to help you out with another provider who'd be here on days that I'm not here. But if you want me to, I promise you will always see me. And they're happy. Yeah.
And that's kind of how we handle it. Like certain people say, I want to see Dr. Koch. We're like, okay, you can see Dr. Koch. And then some people like, if it's like, especially cases where it's like, we're 2 years in and I'm like, like I need to take control of this. Like, I almost don't want to put it on her. Like this really challenging situation. I feel kind of bad, like putting this really challenging patient or mouth or whatever situation. So we'll put a little label, Dr. Koch to finish treatment or something like that. So I mean, it essentially becomes that your day then becomes, even though it might be less clinical time, becomes a distillation of the hardest cases, the most challenging people, the most demanding people. So it's that's a flip side. But yeah, we have that, and it's unavoidable.
You mentioned something that was also a challenge for me, and I'm working through it. You mentioned about ready to finish. I've come up with the conclusion in my office that whoever says next visit debond is the one who needs the debond, right? Rather than me saying, hey, I think they're ready for debond, and then they come into his schedule, and he might see something in case he hasn't seen in 5 or 6 visits and say, you know what, I don't want to put him in a position where he sees something I've done that he's not ready to debond, and now he's stuck with a conversation with a parent that he didn't want to have ahead of time. So I sort of made it that whoever says next visit finishing protocol or next visit debond or right, like, okay, whoever says that, then they're seeing the patient next visit.
I like that. I think that's a good call, because that's definitely happened where we've had that, where she's having to explain something and I was like, we're gonna have to let this thing go. But she's like asking me, you sure you want to debond that one? So we have those situations. I think that would resolve it. Yeah.
Like you've treated the patient 6 times in a row, and 6 times you've said, wear your elastics, and 6 times they haven't. Yeah. And you spoke to mom, but the assistant didn't write it in the notes as well as she should have. Right. And so all of a sudden they show up for debond, and you're looking at it and going, wait a minute, I can't debond this. Well, yes, you can, but it wasn't fair to you because you had no idea, and it was nobody's fault. And that's just like, if anybody was going to ask me, even if the finest associate on the planet, which I believe with Michael Rasmussen there, I can't imagine a better human being than him. Mm-hmm. I just tell everybody, if you're going to, like, there's one piece of advice, unless you're running the kind of office with 8 doctors and nobody really cares what the other one's doing, which is not my practice. I would just say whoever says next visit debond or next visit finishing protocol, they need to see that person at the next visit.
Yeah, I like that. It's
Yeah.
something I'll have to look at and see if we can implement it. I like that.
I get one thing right a year, Jacob. I'm glad I gave it to you.
That's it. That's a good one.
Actually, I got 2 things right this year. That was one, and the other was having you on this podcast. And
Awesome.
So, I want to say thank you to you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. If there's one thing I know, it's you're going to work out tomorrow, man.
I will. Yeah, I got to lift weights later today already. Cardio was this morning. Weights are later on. So
you're doing 2-a-days?
Yeah.
Holy crap, man! Jeez,
We'll record 6 weeks, man. I gotta do 2-a-days.
Do you really? So you really do need to work out that much more as the competition comes closer.
No, that's mostly just the time management because I'm going to do cardio and weight training every day, and so it's a little easier to do cardio first thing in the morning, and then later in the day do the weight.
I don't know how you do it, man.
Here's one more trick, and this is worth its weight in gold.
Right on.
Work out, get yourself a home gym or some kind of equipment. Work out first thing in the morning, and wear your gym clothes as your pajamas. Then all you got to do is wake up, put on your shoes, and go down. That was crucial for me. So
really,
I've
never done that.
Wear your gym clothes. Get some comfortable gym clothes. Wear them as your pajamas.
Guess I'm going to start working out in the nude.
You got a home gym, you can do it.
Yeah, no, thank you. There's very few things in life I want to do less than that. Did I mention I don't work out at home? I work out at the gym. No, but seriously, it's been a joy. It's been a joy getting to know you through RD, and it's been a joy getting to know you here as well. And I appreciate all the tips and tricks and hacks you gave us along the way. And just look forward to seeing you whenever that may be next.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, good luck. We won't see you, so you'll have to check back in. At least in OrthoPreneurs in the main group, or at least in RD, and tell us how you did in the competition.
I will.
So this is
Ortho Health Tribe. Ortho Health Tribe.
Ortho Health Tribe. This will definitely air before then. And
all right.
So hopefully everybody go to Ortho Health Tribe. But I think it starts as a hashtag.
I think it's hashtag Ortho Health Tribe.
Hashtag Ortho Health Tribe. Go sign up for it, and good luck, my man. I'm wishing you lots of luck with it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.